On the misty afternoon of October 28, 1886, nearly 1 million people crowd the shores of New York Harbor. Dozens of boats jostle for position in the gray waters around tiny Bedloe's Island. All have gathered to witness an important dedication. After prayers and speeches by various dignitaries, the colossal new copper Statue of Liberty is introduced to the world. She is greeted by a tremendous din of cheering, steam whistles, and gunfire. In the decades to follow, the Statue of Liberty would become a gateway symbol of refuge and hope for millions of immigrants seeking a new life in the New World. But the intended symbolism of this gift from France to the United States was slightly different. In fact, the monument was originally called Liberty Enlightening the World. A belief in universal rights provides one of the bedrock principles of American constitutionalism. As Abraham Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address, the United States was born to the ideals of liberty and equality. Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence expressed the founders' shared commitment to rights they believed to be as self-evident as the laws of mathematics, divinely given and unalienable. They could neither be given nor taken away by a government. In the words of Alexander Hamilton,
"The sacred rights of mankind are not to be rummaged for among old parchments or musty records. They are written as with a sunbeam in the whole volume of human nature by the hand of the divinity itself, and can never be erased or obscured by mortal power."
The founders did, however, rely upon history's old parchments to identify those specific rights that were necessary to secure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They knew from their studies of history and philosophy, as well as from their own experience, that certain fundamental rights had to be provided for in order to protect liberty and prevent injustice. Some of these fundamental rights have been recognized in such great charters of liberty as the Magna Carta, the Petition of Right, and the Massachusetts Body of Liberties. Among the fundamental rights most cherished by the founders were freedom of religion and expression. They also valued due process guarantees against unwarranted searches and seizures, self-incrimination, cruel and unusual punishment, and other arbitrary uses of power. The founders recognized that rights such as the freedom of speech, the press, petition, and assembly were also essential to the success of democracy and self-government. Most of the framers believed that a constitution providing for a representative government of enumerated powers and checks and balances would provide sufficient means for securing such rights. However, during the Constitution's ratification, it became clear that many Americans believed that additional safeguards were necessary. As Richard Henry Lee observed,
"The most express declarations and reservations are necessary to protect the just rights and liberty of mankind from the silent, powerful, and ever-active conspiracy of those who govern."
And so in 1791, the Bill of Rights was added to the Constitution. As our history has made clear, proclaiming fundamental rights and honoring them are not the same thing. America has often fallen short of its ideals, as in its prolonged toleration of slavery and in the injustices inflicted on other vulnerable groups. The ongoing struggle to secure and expand our fundamental rights remains one of the most exciting themes of our Constitution's history.